Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome everybody. It's time once again for another episode of Health Talks with Dr. Trinh. The only show, the best show, to get you the best information possible about all the crazy issues, confusion surrounding our health today. Answering your questions, opening your eyes, and hopefully opening your ears today. That's what we're going to talk about. Wow, look at who we've got with us. Dr. Trinh. Hey, sir, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Paul. Are you sharing screen?
I
Let's
think I
see.
am. Let's see if we're on Facebook Live. Oh, let's go to the screen. You want to see everybody too this morning here? Let's do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning to all who joined us. Today we have a treat. Get ready. We're going to sing along with Evelyn today. I feel like it's Mitch Miller time. I'm going to date myself. Remember Mitch Miller in the old days? Dr. Trinh doesn't remember. You're too young to remember Mitch Miller, but he used to come on TV and we'd all sing along.
Really?
Yeah, there was a sing-along show, and he'd have all these things, and then he'd have the lyrics around. We would literally sit in our living rooms and sing along with Mitch Miller here.
Nice, nice. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Virginia. This folks coming on our show. We are going to chat with Evelyn today, and we're also going to chat with Evelyn to hear about how music can affect and be beneficial for memory.
For memory. So we're tying it into the Alzheimer's connection. She also says it's a way to learn languages. I want to understand how to do that. You can learn a language through music? That seems impossible.
Sounds like Elven language in Lord of the Rings. Right?
The elfin language. Yes. Only Dr. Trinh being able to, he loves all these. You haven't talked about the Walking Dead yet here. So that's usually a reference he wants to bring in. He's a big Walking Dead fan here. So let's bring in your guest. And I don't know how to say your last name. Evelyn?
Choi.
Choi. Well, how do we get Choi out of three letters there? C-U-I. How does that turn into Choi?
That's a great question, actually, Paul. So I'm Chinese Korean.
Okay.
And the spelling of my last name is in Chinese.
Okay.
Like way of spelling. But the way to pronounce it is a little bit on the difficult side, I think, for most people. So
Yeah.
I Americanized it in the Korean way, which is spelled C-H-O-I, and it's the same character in Chinese and Korean.
Oh, yeah, C-H-O-I. I see all the time.
H-O-I is C-U-I.
Exactly, in Chinese. So Korean spell it C-H-O-I, and then Chinese spell it C-U-I.
See, I'm glad I asked. I learned because I've seen Choi, like there's a big city councilman in Irvine here. I
Right.
forgot his first name, but Choi. I see it all the time. It's a very common, is that a Korean name? Choi would be a common Korean name?
Yes, it's more common in Korean, and there's still quite a few Chinese people with this last name. And
Well, I'm going
there's
to
some
go off on a
heritage.
little quick tangent just to show you an obscure fact I know, but it seems like for some reason, both in Vietnam and in Korea, there are two or three names that dominate the whole country. For example, in Vietnam, the term Nguyen, N-G-U-Y-E-N, which took me a long time since it looks like Nguyen, but it's Nguyen, was some king or something, the emperor in some century, and he decided I'm magnanimously let everybody take my name, and they did, and so half the country has that name. And the same thing is true with Park. I believe that Park is the name, one of the names in Korean that
Korean.
has, I don't know why the story of that, but Choi seems like another one of those names that it's very common. Is that a common Korean name?
Very common for Korean, yes.
Does it mean anything? Does it have a story behind it, or is it just a name that everybody picked up?
You're on a roll today, Paul. So, the character written is in Chinese,
Uh-huh.
and Chinese characters always have meanings because they're hieroglyph.
Hieroglyphics, yeah, right.
Yes, there you
It's
go.
an image that's because they, unlike this is what Westerners still have. I still have trouble doing this. How you read in it's what the earliest the Egyptians and everybody else did. They all wrote in cuneiform or something. They all wrote in little symbols or something here, and the symbol would have they would alter the symbol slightly to change the meaning of it or add to the symbol or extra pieces, rather than we came up with this weird idea of alphabets, of letters that have sounds, and then we string those sounds together here. So the Chinese have millions of characters that you have to memorize, which makes Chinese so difficult for most of us here. So you're going to say there's something about the Choi character here in Chinese.
Yeah, I love the Chinese language. I was born and raised in China, and so it's one of my first languages.
Look at that. She says one of her first. I only got one. She's got one of many here. Okay.
I'm very blessed. It's all family. You know, it's not
Right.
like I was born and I said I want to learn all these things, but it's just my family spoke both Korean and Chinese at home.
Someday we're going to do a thing on language, because I find the Vietnamese language in particular very unique, because I'm not going to do this badly, but you could say the same word but say it in a different way, like, I'll just use my name, Paul,
Yeah.
or Paul. You go up or you go down. You can do it real short, and it totally changes the meaning. Same word, but how you say it. It's like, I don't listen to how I say a word.
So let's get to topic, guys.
Yes.
We have learned.
I
we
just
have
get a
learned-
chance to talk about language. I'm always fascinated by
Oh,
language.
yeah. We have learned something over the years with our patients who have memory loss,
Mhm.
especially in the moderate to severe cases of patients with memory loss. What we have seen is that these patients may go as their disease progress. They start to speak less. Their vocabulary decreases, and
Yes, they shut down.
their interaction is less, and then they basically shut down, right?
Right.
Mentally, emotionally, in our Alzheimer's patients who are in the moderate to severe cases. And what has always been interesting is that when we take a good number of our patients who have moderate to severe Alzheimer's, and it's not every patient, but a good number of them, when we take them to church and we sing the old hymns, the hymns of their youth, right? Amazing Grace, or different songs of their youth, we notice something really spectacular often. These patients who would not verbalize for months, for years, with minimum verbalization, they begin to completely open up, and they would join in on these songs, and they would open up emotionally, and they would smile, and they would sing their hearts out. And although they may have not had a great conversation with their family members because of their Alzheimer's, when you bring music into it, these patients, especially music that they remember from their youth, these patients completely open up, and it's always been something that's been wonderful for us, especially in the research field, and especially for families and friends around these patients, to watch a glimmer of life that just come out with our patients.
Have you seen that, Evelyn? Have you ever worked with people with memory loss?
Yes, actually, I take my students annually to senior homes, and most of the time, these senior citizens have some degree of memory loss. And so, yeah, we see a lot of them come in, sometimes not being able to walk, or to have like good motor skills. But when it's time to sing along Christmas carols, they come alive, they're shaking bells, and they want to get up and dance, and it's wonderful. And they would.
So I'm going to ask
hand.
the researcher and Dr. Trinh, is there any research that supports this idea? Is this just anecdotal? And if it is, why? Is it hardwired into us differently? Is it more deeply rooted in us? What is it about these songs and music and the way our brain absorbs music that makes that still survive, even though the rest of it is gone?
Yes. What we are learning in research is that music is hardwired differently. Apparently the pathway of music and the memory of music is still preserved in patients with advanced dementia.
Hmm.
And I see folks on here. Hi, Wanda. Hey, Vicky. Hey, Sherry. And so Vicky Sofa, who's on here, is part of our Alzheimer's OC team. And although she's just retired recently to enjoy life, but but she's come. I'm sure she's come across music as well and memory. But but yes, so we are looking into maybe opportunities to how we could utilize this knowledge of how music can be therapeutic, how music can open up the minds of that's been closed due to these Alzheimer's plaque,
Hmm.
right,
Right.
for so long, and which is why I'm really excited to bring Evelyn on board to discuss this. Uh, Evelyn, talk a little bit about your Evelyn's musical garden. What is that, or
Yeah,
what
bring
talk
us,
about?
walk us through your musical garden here.
Well, I guess like all gardens, it started with a place and having seeds, right? So I think my seeds for music were planted since I was in my mother's womb.
Wow,
She,
that's a
yes,
long time ago. That's starting
that is.
pretty early here. Yeah, all right.
I mean, I'm still a youngster, so maybe not too long,
Yeah,
but for
yeah, that's
some,
true.
just a couple of decades. And um, for me, music has been with me. Like my mom has told me, because I don't have memory of this, but she said that she would listen to so much classical music when she was pregnant with me, because she learned that even when babies are in the womb, they're able to hear and they're able to like develop
Is that
with it.
true, or is that an old wives' tale? I mean, hard for me to believe that a baby in a womb can absorb. I know everybody's going
Sound.
to anything, but I find it amazing. But they say it all the time. You talk to your baby, you sing to your baby. Is that true,
Oh,
doctor?
you're asking me? Oh,
There, there's some data. There's some data behind it.
Okay. All right. So you were being sung to in your womb, and from the earliest time, classical music. You think it's stuck?
classical music, lullabies, yeah, you name it. So, and I guess I was born naturally loving to perform and loving just, yeah, singing, dancing, playing instruments. So, and I think my family did really nurture that. And they didn't want me to pursue this professionally,
Mm.
actually. The whole time they supported me with like weekly lessons ever since I was probably kindergarten. They never once said you have to keep this up or you have to make this profession. They just wanted me to enjoy this for my life.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, they just wanted me to have a very healthy hobby, express my emotions in a healthy outlet, be able to learn a skill that somehow combined academics and emotions together, so I can develop in both ways. And I think that's how I got to the love of music, and eventually I got to know more about worship music, and that was like another level of connecting with music.
Hmm.
And then only after I graduated from college did I realize my heart was always in education, and something that's been in my life the whole time since the beginning was my love for children and music. And so that's how Evelyn's Musical Garden was born. I started teaching back in 2016, 2017.
And
And
what did you teach? Instruments, singing? What did you teach? Everything?
I taught piano only.
Hmm.
However, when we were having our concerts, I would choreograph dance with my kids, and we would also sing a lot, because learning the piano is actually very, very good when it's combined with singing. When kids are able to vocalize the music that they want to produce on the instrument, they're able to internalize it and bring it out through their instruments. It's pretty
I'm
magical.
always amazed at people, and maybe Dr. Trin's one of these. I don't know if he's got any musical talent, but who can literally play something by ear. And there's so many famous musicians. You could talk about this all the time, but they never really learned to the structure of music. They never, like I did, they never learned to read music. They just would hear it and they could say, "Oh, I know how to do that," somehow instinctively. I was always in awe of people that could do that.
That is pretty amazing.
Is that you? I mean, you just hear it and it comes out?
Well, I learned it, I guess, academically from the very beginning.
Hmm.
So for me, it was trained process of ear training, and then I'm able to write it and play it and things like that. So that comes from a place of understanding. But there are people, like you said, who can do it without having the theory knowledge, which is a talent in itself, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. What about you,
So
Dr.
you
Trinh?
so you would take your students to like nursing homes to
Yeah, what do you do with
really?
them?
Oh, so what do you guys do there? You do you bring your instruments or do you just sing songs to the patients? For the client?
Well, yeah, I found so when the first year I did this, I inquired more experienced music teachers of music school owners, and they they said that senior home folks really enjoy singing to the things that they know, not just the classical stuff that you can't do anything with. So we
Right.
just sit back and listen, which is nice too. There's beautiful classical music, and there's some more well known than others. So I try to set a program of like recognizable classical music with Christmas carols or something they can sing along, clap along, dance along with. And we bring some like bells and shakers and little eggs and maracas, and have the kids pass them out. And they will participate, like repeating a couple Christmas carols with us and hymns.
Yeah, those types of activity are very important, especially when we think about brain health. The socialization of getting, the seniors together, the singing, which is digging out, right, old memories that they still recognize, although their short-term memory isn't that great, right? We can dig out those old memories, and then when they're singing and expressing themselves, then their emotions open up. We need to incorporate, I believe, more music into Alzheimer's care because music is one of the pathways to open up a mind that has been again closed by the Alzheimer's plaque, right?
Hmm.
By closed by damage to the brain cells. So we need to really in our industry figure out a way to make this more yeah just more part and integrated
So,
into
how would you do that? Would you just have the patient sing how they feel this morning? How do you feel this morning? Would you have them sing things to bring back memories that maybe would the memory lead to another memory? If you open one door, does another follow?
yeah, good question.
What do you think, Evelyn?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad
So
you asked.
yeah, just about a month. I think it's been a month since I reached out. I was connected with a mentor who's about 20 years into the field of music therapy, and I've been inquiring her every Thursday about how do I step into this field of music therapy and what can it do for people. And one of the things she mentioned was her work with senior citizens who are experiencing in the beginning of stages of memory loss or at the very end of it. And so it was really powerful, the things that she shared with me. She said there's particular objectives music therapists have when they go into a space of the patients, and they learn what is it that they would need to work on. And
Right.
then according to that, then the music therapists create a plan to bring out a certain aspect of their like ability, like brain capability, or they strengthen something, or they try to build something new. And so it's I think it's up to it, like the possibility is endless, and you just up to how much more do we invest into making it happen and creating those spaces and opportunities for the patients to have access to music therapists.
So I got to stop you and ask you both a question here. I have always heard of this field of music therapy, and it always made me go, "What? Music therapy?" If you really want to be a therapist today, it isn't just a physical therapist. You can be a musical therapist. What does a musical therapist do? And explain the science behind this. Is it just tapping into the brain in another way?
Music is healing, right? Music is a de-stressor,
Hmm.
right? Music is de-stressor. Uh, and so music addresses conditions of anxiety, depression, stress. It brings you to that space in your mind where where you're actually, enjoying what you're listening to, and it really just, replaces
But
oftentimes
but they
how
use it.
things feel.
They use it somehow to actually, though, bring it's a therapy. It's not just a feel good, hey, let's sing and we'll all feel happy today here. They use it in some therapeutic fashion that I've never quite understood. And quite often with very deeply disturbed people or people with severe memory loss and whatnot. It seems to be another way into the brain. And then I don't know enough about it to know how they use that to effectuate change or healing. Does anybody know? I'd be interested if anybody out there is listening. If anybody knows about musical therapy or has been to a musical therapist, tell us, share us, because I know there are people that really study this. It's kind of this obscure field, and they'll go into hospitals with the really mentally disturbed people, and they'll use it as a way in where nobody else can reach these people. And I don't know what they do. Did they just sing and then that creates a connection? Did they just sing and that makes them smile, or how do you use music in a therapeutic way other than making you feel happy?
I love your questions, Paul. So this is
I'm on
something
a roll.
that, yeah, this is something I've looked into and also spoke extensively with my mentor about.
Okay.
And and I love this. I might just go to school for it too.
Yeah,
So
right. Why not?
she said that music therapy is something that you can work with from prenatal, like still in the womb babies, all the way until the grave.
Wow.
So, yes, there are things we can do to create the mother and the baby connection with music and the mother singing because their body's connected, their breathing, heartbeats and everything is in sync, and that builds connection, right? And then music, you can use music therapy knowledge for like child development, like early childhood development and like brain development, right? Having music, body coordination, and having that building memory for language too, right? Language and things like that. And then there's behavioral applications to music therapy. So children with learning disabilities or cognitive some sort of disability, you can use music to, for example, for speech. If someone has a hard time with speech, then we can use music therapy to connect from song, like singing the song, to learning the words, to using that process for them to be able to speak without the song. So that's how you're able to use music and bring out their language skills.
There used to be when I was younger, again, I'm dating myself, a famous country singer, Mel Tillis, and he stuttered terribly. And he was on the Tonight Show all the time, and he used to make fun of his stuttering. That was part of his shtick. He rather than fight it, he made it endearing and funny. But when he sang, he never stuttered, and he couldn't explain why. But he sang perfectly. But when he talked, he spoke horribly.
Different part of the brain
Yeah.
is being used again. And imagine if in these adult senior living communities where they have dementia or memory loss units with patients who have memory loss in these units. Imagine if you can bring music in every day,
Yeah. Wow.
right? And pull up the old hymns and the old songs that they can. It'd be nice to see, and it'd be like an interesting clinical study to do. Actually,
I wish I had known this years ago. My late mother, who passed away a long time ago, had dementia caused by Parkinson's. Parkinson's led to dementia, and we didn't understand that at the time. And she got very quiet and shut down the last couple of years. A woman who was, I think the correct word is garrulous. She talked all the time. She was full of life. She was funny, very funny woman. But the last 10 years of her life barely spoke a word. It was sad to see, really. She just shut down. Yeah.
Yes. And Sherry Ross on Facebook says music also attaches you to situational memory.
Ah,
right? It's like
yes.
it's like it's like if you start hearing the hymns of a Christmas song,
You remember
the
where you heard
psychological
it.
memory
Yeah,
of Christmas is a positive one,
right.
right? And it opens up the floodgates though to positive memories based on the songs you listen to. It's kind of like a door that opens up based on the song and the life experiences you've had around that song, like Christmas, right?
Right. Where were
It
you when
opens
you
up.
heard that song? We all have a song we remember. Oh my goodness, the summer of '69. I remember that song. I got my first driver's license or something here. I'll tell you another thing, and it's sort of related, I think, is I think it goes to a lot of the senses. People say that the last thing that goes before you die, and I don't know if it's true or not, is your hearing. So you can hear people even though they think you're in a coma. And I've experienced this. I'll just tell you this sad, quick story here. My late aunt, wonderful woman, but very tough Midwestern woman, never said "I love you" to anybody. You knew she did, but she didn't say it. So on her deathbed, I'm there and she's dying. I'm in the room with my wife, and she's been in a coma all day. And I said, I'm crying. I'm saying, I'll never hear her say the one thing I knew she loved me, but I always wanted to hear her say it. And as we're talking about this, she comes out of the coma and starts mumbling. And I said, what is it? What? She's talking. Oh, my God, she's talking. And she says, I love you. And that's the last words she spoke before she died. Oh, I get
Wow.
choked up every time. I don't know why I had to wait my whole life to that moment. But she heard us as we were saying that when every doctor in the room says she's gone, she's out of it. She's seconds away from death here. So there is some proof, at least anecdotally, that the hearing access is a different thing. And smells are the same thing. They always say the same thing. You smell something, a smell will come back to you and you go, oh my God, and you start tearing up. It's my mother's perfume or my grandmother's scent in her house or something here. There's something about these senses that are, I don't know if anybody else has had, give us some experiences if you've had any of that, where a
Yeah.
sensory memory, you heard something, you smelled something, and all of a sudden a flood came over you.
You guys, so Sherry Ross says, I heard a song recently that took me back to a time when I was on the plane for the first time,
See?
back in 1974, first time away from home.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yes, so the song opens up that memory. And we hope that we can somehow utilize that for patients with memory loss, right? Somehow utilize, maybe the old Christmas songs to open up those memories that are, deep inside that
Right.
maybe has not been affected by the plaque, right? The Alzheimer's plaque, or open up a song that has positive experiences attached to that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a holiday, or it could be a song in church, the old hymns.
It could be anything. It could be a silly song you heard on the radio, but you remember that summer was something special. For her, it was a trip that was special. It was something that was on. My wife and I have a song that was playing on the radio. It wasn't a real popular song, but it was Jefferson Starship's "Ain't Nothing Gonna Stop Us Now." And oh my God, we hear that song, everything has to stop in the room, and we have to dance, because that song was playing the summer we met 100 years ago. And it still means something to us.
So Evelyn and I have been chatting about a project.
Yes.
Yeah, Evelyn, would you like to?
She's going to
share
unveil
what's
it here
going on?
today. She's going to perform a little bit for us today, folks. She doesn't know. She's got to do a little something here. Yeah.
Little to my knowledge.
Little something. She's got to give us a little sample of the garden. We got to walk through the garden a little bit here today.
Well, I think you're gonna walk through the garden through a warm up because I haven't warmed up this
Oh,
morning.
I get the parts of it. Oh, dun, 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 dun. All right,
A
here we
warm
go.
up walk.
All right, go back to vocal.
Well, for this project that Dr. Trinh just mentioned, we've been so my studio and my baby students, bless them. Oh my goodness, one of my students who don't usually perform or like outgoing to be like, I want to perform.
Right.
She mentioned to me, Miss Evelyn, remember that spring concert that you promised that senior home last Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going to happen to that? And this was right at the crack of, the lockdown.
COVID, yeah.
COVID. And I thought, well, I'm stressed out. I have a lot of work to do and they're closed. So we'll probably go.
Let's put that aside,
And then
right?
she said, what about the Google video chats and the YouTube live and the Zoom? Can you like virtually do something?
Yeah.
And I thought, you're too smart. Okay, yes, I gave my word. I will at least ask the senior homes if they want to hear us, right? And so, long story short, this whole spring and summer, all the way now, it's fall. We've worked on many pieces. All my students have submitted their recordings of their performance. It's super adorable. And I've combined my singing students with local nonprofit music students and college students, professionals, international superstar to sing a song together. And this is Michael Jackson's We Are the World.
Wow.
So there's a virtual choir project that is actually done. As of this morning, I got a message that the video is finished. So it's going to be such a treat. We're going to do American Sign Language. We're going to have everywhere from toddler, like 4-year-old baby, all the way to retired senior citizen in the same video, and singing this song as a gift from us to everyone who is a part of experiencing the pandemic right now. First responders, senior citizens, parents, families, grandparents, children who are...
So we should have everybody from Dr. Trin's Facebook group, because I'm sure they're all good singers, participate as well. We should all announce this when this is, and there's a time everybody goes on to a certain space and place, and then you go a 1, a 2, a 3, and you start playing, and we all sing along, sitting, and there's 100 of Facebook little boxes open, and everybody's singing this virtual choir together here.
Oh my gosh, that's a vision I didn't have, but you know what? I think that's doable.
Yeah.
So I got to know about this live stream platform, and we're going to live stream and premiere this concert. I'm hoping next month.
What's the platform? We'll give them a shout out here.
Live stream.
Oh, it's called Portal. I believe it's PORTL.
And it's a place you can live stream group events like that?
They live stream music events, yes.
Oh.
And I'm able to bring on other people to the screen. I'm not sure if it's meant for like a big group streaming at the same time in video. However, there's a ton of people who can join the live stream, watch the video because it's already produced.
Right.
They can watch the video on their screens and sing along. You know what? They can just videotape them singing along to us, and we will be able to compile something after that, and that would be like a round 2 of the choir.
Because I think the power is participating. I think the power
Absolutely.
isn't just watching and remembering. The power is getting them to come alive at the same time and sing along with Mitch Miller or sing along
and I
with
would
us.
love to live stream this to our nursing homes
Yeah.
and to the folks that we are connected with in the different senior retirement communities, so that they can enjoy a concert online during this pandemic. And so we just got to come up with a date and some logistics, and Paul, we should put it on OC Talk Radio during that time.
I would love to, because I think we could do again, more than just watching something. I think we've got to think of ways to make it a participatory thing. So yes, some will just watch and smile, but to get them out of their silence and to come forward and sing along, and then to see them, because they could just hold up an iPhone and somebody could hold up an iPhone for them, or a smartphone, and sing along, and they could be, I'm sure there's a way, because musicians are doing this now where they're having these virtual concerts. So you can't go see a band, so they come online, and sometimes they're in multiple cities, and the drummer's here in one city and the guitarist is in another city, and they play in real time, because there's no lag, there's no latency between us, very little. So if I'm talking, you're hearing me at the exact same moment. I'm not a half a second behind you like in the old days. And that allows us all to. I think that would be a cool thing to do. Ask your audience in Facebook. Would you join in if we put this on Facebook? Would you?
Sherry, Maria, Chris, would you guys be interested in joining in on our concert?
Not just watching, but participating. That's the key.
And don't worry if you don't sing well, because we got the mute button.
Yeah, it's the effort.
It's okay.
It's the effort. We'll turn you down. We got an engineer here who says, "Whoa."
I can mute myself too. I'm not saying I can sing. I'll probably be the first one muted.
Wow.
So
We'll go down the button here, and I'll decide who stay. But I think that would be. It's a live, another word we used to use back in the 60s. It's a live happening. I don't remember everybody happening. We used to get together and have a happening. Something would happen. And we'd all get excited. And today they call them flash mobs. They all get together and there's something happens. There was a, you ever read about these flash mobs that show up at a certain place and time?
Oh, yes. And then they all start singing.
They all burst into singing.
Like in the malls.
At a mall or at a train station or something here. And all of a sudden, 50 people who don't know each other have all been told to show up at a certain time. And then somebody's going to stand up and start singing. And all these strangers out of nowhere just start joining in or playing an instrument or something here. And it's just everybody's flipped out. Who are all of a sudden it's like a musical in real life. All of a sudden everybody breaks into music here.
So Evelyn, what is next steps to get a online live concert? What is next steps? Set a date.
Set a date's always the key.
Date and a time.
Set a date, and I'm still working on a website link URL for people to read up on it and register themselves with their email probably, so they get the actual live stream link when the time comes.
It's kind of like the Zoom link, yeah.
And how do you participate, though? If I want to sing in this choir, how do I join? Not just watch it, how do I participate? How do I join in? How do I sing We Are the World along with you?
Oh, let's see.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll talk to my website friend to
There's got to be a way through one of these portals or through Facebook or something here where we can all not just, I get two choices. I can just watch, ta-da, and that's interesting. Or another link, I can be on camera, on the thing, one of the little boxes, one of the little millions of voices singing there. Imagine, because that's the thing, if you could get 1 million people, imagine that, 1,000 people, 3 million people in Orange County, if you get 1,000 of them all to sing at one moment, to stop what they're doing and all sing a song.
Yeah.
What would that do for the world? If everybody stopped what they're doing, everybody on Facebook, think about that. If we all just picked a day and time, we're all going to show up next Thursday at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., and we're all going to somehow go on camera ourselves in little boxes, thousands of us. And when she says go, she's going to go 1, 2, 3 and start playing, and we're all going to sing along.
It's gonna have to be like a Zoom link where you can see everyone's faces in a gallery.
Yes, exactly. Right.
And they can sing. I don't know if the platform will allow that, but we can always do like a concurrent separate Zoom alongside of it or something.
Well, Zoom will allow you up to 500 people in a room.
Or 1,000.
Yeah.
You can do 1,000 folks on Zoom.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
different
figure
levels.
That'd be kind of nice to have a whole bunch of people in a gallery.
Well, because it also says something about it, especially if you pick a song like We Are the World.
In a gallery singing.
Yeah, and then you'd have to have somewhere where the words are being shown, because not everybody knows all the words to all these songs. So we
can stream the words at the bottom.
Yeah.
But Sherry Ross says do a separate Zoom concurrently. Something where you can see a gallery of people and their faces.
Exactly.
And they're all singing. That'd be kind of cool, too.
And you could get attention. You could go out to the newspapers and tell everybody, hey, at this time, join us. 1,000 people. We're going to try and get 1,000 people all singing.
Here's our Zoom link.
Here's our Zoom link, and it's being directed towards senior citizens to put a smile on their face. But it would imagine if we could get this is a weird analogy, but my father used to say, my late father used to love Christmas Eve. He was a busy corporate executive. He never stopped for anything. He worked 24/7. But on Christmas Eve was the only time he came home early, because the corporation shut down. And he would stand about midnight. He would stand outside and he'd say, do you hear it? Every year. And of course, we lived in the Midwest. It's snowing. I didn't want to stand outside. And he'd say, do you hear it? I'd say, I don't hear anything, Dad. He said, exactly. And it was the only time he thought the world slowed down and stopped on Christmas Eve, because they were forced to, everything, him included. And I never forgot that image of everybody, a shared experience. All at once, we're all slowing down, or we're all doing. So imagine if today we could slow down for 1 second and all do something together, even if it was for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All
this means is that Evelyn now needs a Christmas concert also.
Yes. Well, Christmas is the time to do this. Yeah.
We're coming up with projects for you live.
That's in the works. There's a Christmas concert and a solo concert. So
All right, well, give us a little sample. You've got some keyboards behind us. Come on, you're a performer.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah.
Only takes a slight nudge to get you to sing or perform or play something. Give us a little something on the keyboards there. Warm us
Yes.
up here today. Walk us through the garden. What should we hear this morning?
okay, so let's see what I'm feeling because
Yeah, what are you feeling
in
today?
the moment kind of a thing. As a musician sense, well, I know we talked a lot about memory and we talked about having significance tied to a certain like song, right?
I thought you were
And
going to play Memory from Cats or something here. I'm trying to think of all the songs that have the word memory in them. Memory, dun 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 dun. Anyway,
that's not the case.
that's not it. All right, okay.
I do have some options here. One is something that I played since I was 12, which is when I immigrated to the US. And that song gave me so much comfort and so much joy and serenity. And I think this is something that I want to gift to my audience.
Okay.
At the senior
Did you
home
learn this here or did you learn it where you came from? Then bring it
I
here.
learned it in LA, yeah, after I immigrated here.
Okay.
So that's something that everybody knows, but it's something that means a lot to me. And another piece that I've also refreshed back now is like, it's been 10, 12 years since I played it. It's a piece that demonstrates I can remember things because it's super fast and it keeps going.
Yeah.
So, I think since we're still in the morning time, let's do something just almost meditative. Yeah?
Okay.
Just to enjoy it.
Give
Take
us a-
a breather. I'll
Give us
breathe
a
with
sample.
you.
All right.
And
Walk us through it. Okay. What do you want us to do?
is there a time limit for this?
Well, we got about
going.
5 minutes. Go 5. You got 5 minutes.
We have 15 minutes.
Yeah. 5 minutes.
Okay, it should be under 5. It should be right around 4 something.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a Chopin Nocturne, Opus 9, number 2.
Wow. Okay.
2 or 12? Oh dear. Okay, I remember the song much better than the music
title.
name.
All right. Go for it.
Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you can hear okay, or I can hook up a different mic, a better mic for this.
We can hear. Yeah. Go.
Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Loud and clear.
Awesome.
Loud and
Okay,
clear.
okay, let's see.
Holy moly.
Wow, can this
Is that
girl
fun?
play or what? That's a very famous piece. I didn't know what that was called, but I've heard that a million times. That's a very famous piece of music, classical piece of music.
Oh,
Wow. Well, I just feel it.
wow.
To watch you play it and to come alive, the flourishes and the feeling that you have doing that is something to watch. It's not just hearing it, it's watching you play it. There's a lot of passion when you get into that.
Wow.
Amazing.
It will be better, I promise. It will be better by the time it's the concert. Today, this is my first time touching the piano, so bear with me here.
No problem. Sounded good to me.
Wow. Oh my
When
word.
so we've got to find a way to get people to listen to music and come out of their shells here. We're all isolated, alone. In
Yes.
addition to Alzheimer's, I think it's a way to make people feel alive again. We can't go out and see concerts, so we've got to bring it to them. We've got to bring music. Any other thoughts? You had some other things, some exercise that you wanted to do with us or something this morning. We've got a couple minutes left. Was there anything else you wanted to walk us through here? This whole idea of using music as therapy, using music to access parts of your brain. You said something you can learn music to learn languages. I teased that in the beginning. You got to give me a minute or two on that. How do I learn Korean by music?
Well, I think this comes from my memory of learning French when I was in high school.
Okay.
And so if I have to think about the French conjugations, right?
Right.
I think about the song. It's like every time I forget, I go, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est. I
There's
start
a song,
remembering
yeah,
how
right,
to
exactly.
say those things
Right.
because I remembered it in a song as a part of a lyric. I didn't have to think about it, right? I just know the song.
It was
And
embedded,
then
yeah,
that
right.
reminds me of the actual language that's involved in that song. So that's just a small snippet, but I think that helps.
So
Because
there are
music is
ways to,
language.
it's because you memorize it in a different way. Again, Dr. Trinh, it's a way I take it in a different way.
Yes. It goes through a different pathway. And so, in the same way that hearing goes through a different pathway in your brain, vision goes through a different pathway in your brain, right? It's, touch, smell, all these different sensory pathways go through separate pathways, and which is why music is preserved, because
Ah,
the pathway it goes through
there you go.
is preserved, and and so it's still there for patients with advanced Alzheimer's or moderate to advanced Alzheimer's, where they no longer speak, they can't remember, frontal lobe stuff, and but music for God bless, music is something that has been preserved in that pathway.
And it gets preserved generation after generation. I marvel at songs that we all know. Happy Birthday. Somebody came up with that at some point in time, but I'd have to go look it up on the internet, see if there's anybody that actually knows who wrote Happy Birthday to You, Happy Birthday to You. And yet it gets passed on generation after generation. There's something that my grandson, who's 5, and at one time my great grandmother, when she was alive, we could all sing together. She knew that as well as him. There's something that preserves in our tribal culture, not just stories that survive and myths and whatnot, but the songs that we all know from generation to generation. We should make a
Right.
list of those. What
Which
other
is
songs
why it's
everybody
so
knows?
important to integrate music into, memory care centers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Centers that are taking care of older patients with memory loss. And if we can just keep, you know, stimulating that pathway that's still preserved,
Right.
and to open up these association of a song with a positive experience.
Hmm.
Either the happy birthday song or the Christmas songs that
Right.
are associated with positive experiences. Imagine what we can do to help stimulate that mind that's been
Do you think we
closed.
can build upon it if I open that door, if I get you to wake up and smile and sing happy birthday again because suddenly you're 6 and you're remembering it? does that allow me to talk to you then? Does that open another way into those locked memories, do you think? Or is that just a one-off? They sing happy
Yeah,
birthday and they
yeah,
slip
we don't
away again.
know. Yeah, it's a good question, but I would love to try it out.
Okay.
Right? The research needs to be done on that, but we do know that patients with advanced memory loss can sometimes just completely open up and sing a song, in church that
Right. Any kind of
that
song,
has
right?
been sung. Yeah, and so we know that route exists.
I just something just came to me,
Okay.
when Dr. Trinh was mentioning about putting in music to everyday lives of senior homes, and I work with visions actually quite a bit. So you know how learning music and learning how to sing is actually really good for us to prevent our brains deteriorating to that point. So I was thinking, for all the people who would enjoy music and who think it's too late to learn music, why don't we maybe encourage them to even do some more learning and do some more practicing and just singing for fun, and then have them visit or something, like do a more social, like a community oriented event. So it's not just professional musicians going in to share their music, or music therapists who are also very busy right now to do their work, but just like community people like me to say, well, I'm not a music therapist yet, but I can share my music with you and something you can enjoy.
Now, I'll give
Right.
you a funny aside. Susan Finch is listening in this morning from our next program, Funnel Radio, and she had to smile and put a little happy thing and said, "You can sing Happy Birthday all you want, just don't do it on the radio because it's copyrighted." I didn't know it's a copyrighted song, so now I got to pay a royalty just because I spurted
Yeah,
out here. Oh
happy
my
birthday
goodness!
royalty to the creator of Happy Birthday.
Yes.
So,
Well, we got to wrap up here because we're all ready to go for our next show. How do people get in touch with you, Evelyn, if they want to know about Evelyn's musical garden?
Mm. I guess the OG is email. Hello to, yeah, hello,
The OG, right?
HELLO, and the number two, EMG, standing for Evelyn's Musical Garden, at gmail.com. It's a
Okay.
very easy way to get to me.
Is there a website or anything they can see?
Yeah, there is a website. There is a website. However, it is maintained by me, which means not maintained.
Okay.
But
All right.
everything works. You can still type in your information and send a note to me if you want me to call you back or something. I do get those. The website, I believe,
We'll
is.
put it in the notes. We'll get it in the thing. You can get it to
Sounds
Dr.
good.
Trinh. He'll put it in his Facebook thing here.
EvelynChoi.com will lead you to it as well. It's
And
the
it's
same.
CUI, not CHOI. CUI.
Yes, CUI.
All right. Thanks so much, Evelyn, for singing along.
Evelyn.
You got to play some music to take us out as we go here. Just play a little something, a little snippet of, just a little riff of something, and that'll take us out here.
Okay. Are you serious for this?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah,
start playing, and we'll
can
fade
you-
it out as you're playing here. So just
Oh, yeah, that's
you're gonna
perfect.
do the outro here.
Coming.
Go.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Another example of Dr. Trin's Health Talks. You never know what you're going to hear to put a smile on your face. Thanks for joining us. Perfect. Thanks so
Okay.
much. All right. Bye.
I love it.
That was fun.
Well, that's Health Talks with Dr. Trinh for today. Come back every Thursday as we talk about all the healthy things to get your brain alive, right here in Orange County's only community radio station, octalkradio.net.
Over 200 correlation studies show that natural aptitude is the most significant factor in predicting sales success.